Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 236, and today we're doing battle in the Foundation's Gauntlet. And so, over the past few videos, we've really been touching home on this strategy that I like, since we're here in the three deck pick and ban, but only play a best of one, and where we bring two Harrowing decks, we bring the Ashe Katarina, and then we look to ban out Jinx Draven. The idea with this list, if you aren't following along regularly, is if we have to do battle against a Shadow Isles deck, we want to be playing our Harrowing decks. We feel pretty good in that matchup. If our opponent is bringing a bunch of mid-rangey strategies like Fiora Shin or Elites, we have access to the Ashe Katarina deck, which is quite good against it. And then I don't feel like there's enough good aggro decks in the format to really devote yourself to being good against Jinx Draven, so we just look to ban it. But I do concede that, there's other strategies out there, other things that we should pursue, and across all of the Foundation's Gauntlet videos from the past couple weeks, we haven't touched on Jinx Draven or the Anivia Harrowing deck. And so I'm looking to bring those in as well. The idea I want today is to just have a balanced lineup, right? We're going to be bringing an aggro deck, a mid-rangey deck, and a control deck, and seeing how that kind of balanced good deck strategy pans out in the Foundation's Gauntlet. And so, to get those deck lists pulled up, first and foremost, we have Jinx Draven. This is the aggro offering that we're bringing. Fairly straightforward list. There's not a whole lot of technology coming out with this deck, but I think where you may see a lot of differences in the various card choices out here is we're playing the full 3 copies of Crowd Favorite. I think it's powerful enough to where you're just willing to draw 2 copies and you're willing to risk it being bad, right? You've run into those games to where you draw Crowd Favorite and it's like a 3-2 for 4 mana and you just outright lose. Kind of is what it is. We're willing to just go high risk, high reward with this thing and go with the Crowd Favorite. Otherwise, the spell selection is pretty straightforward. The oddity here would be, I guess, 1 Brother's Bond and 1 Rummage. The thing, I guess, the really call out with the spells, though, is we're not playing Jury Rig. I think that card is just pure garbage, and I can't really bring myself to be that super all-in and playing the Jury Rig as the just kind of pure discard outlet. So that one doesn't make the cut. Otherwise, pretty straightforward here. Next deck, Ashe Katarina. This is the same one that we played in the previous video. I was kind of thinking if I wanted to make a little bit of tuning, because I don't really plan on banning Jinx Draven today. And so I was thinking if we want to do any tuning to fit in just some cheaper dudes, mainly Iceborne Seer, whatever the 2/3 for 2 is that gives your top unit +1/+1 when you cast a spell. And I just kind of decided against it. I think we're reasonably close here. I was kind of considering going back to playing 2 Katarinas and 1 Darius. That's what we would do with the Jinx Draven ban, but I feel like if we're going to keep Jinx Draven up, then having that 3rd Katarina generating Blade's Edges is a reasonable enough option to leave Darius out. And so still the same list that we played here yesterday. And then last but not least, we do have the Anivia Harrowing deck. And so this should be a pretty straightforward version of it as well. Not playing the box. I like to have the additional drain power coming out of the Withering Whale. And then otherwise looking pretty straightforward here. I don't think this is too odd or crazy with any of our card choices. I would say I do see some usage of the Chronicler of Ruin. Is that what he's called? The 4 mana 3/3 that kills a unit and brings it right back. But I think that's a little bit overkill in terms of getting the Anivia deck up and running. And so that's it. Those are the decks. You know what we have to do before the battles begin. We have to go and pay the pay-to-win price. And I was really surprised by this one. The old Vision hasn't been turned premium yet. Gets its day in the sun now. Welcome, friend. Is that Swain? Why did they just print this card before Swain was even released? Huh. Omens of the future, I guess. But nonetheless, our Vision is premium. It's ready to go. I'm ready to go. Let's go ahead and jump on into battle. And so, I noticed on there, I don't know if you caught it, but 69 days until the last chance gauntlet. Very nice. Very nice. But let's jump on in. All right, here we go. Opponent immediately found. And okay, so reasonable enough stuff here with our old list, we were just kind of taking the idea of banning Jinx Draven, and if it wasn't here, then we would ban out the Anivia deck. And I'm reasonably happy enough to do that here as well. The thing that worries me now that we have this kind of more balanced lineup is if we have to play against something like Fiora and they leave up Jinx Draven, then we don't have a lot of good opportunities to try and come in and win that one. And so we'll see. We'll see what opponent leaves up. Of course, we don't have to play Jinx Draven. I think in this spot, I'm still pretty okay with just playing the Anivia deck. It doesn't have all the flash freeze power that I really liked in the previous lineup we were bringing, but we'll see what we can do. I feel okay. All right, just need some of that early game stuff here. Ideally, come up with some way to be dealing with this Zed. Not a good start. Not a good start. A little bit slow here. You don't want to be waiting until turn 6 to get your units on board. But not bad. The Icevale Archer was a pretty reasonable addition. The opponent being on the odd attack token means if they really want to come at us with Zed, they're going to have to play him on turn 3, and we can immediately respond with the Icevale Archer. And so, yeah, we got a bit of recovery here. Not the worst thing to have happen. I think we'll be okay after our early game pickups here with the Aristocrat and the Archer. Sometimes you just need that little bit of time, those little bit of decent top decks, get you right back in it. So probably got to look to block some of this stuff. Let's just go ahead and put a drain on the Soul Shepherd. Have the 2 blocks for the Spiderlings now. I assume the Soul Shepherd just never attacks. We could look to reasonably just take this 4 damage. If we were just going to take the damage, probably shouldn't have Vile Feasted, but I think this is okay. They are some fairly big attackers here. This game, realistically, this is a concept we talked about a lot when we played Expedition, but it doesn't come up nearly as much in Constructed, and that's just don't lose until you win. And I know it doesn't sound completely intuitive, given that don't lose until you win is just kind of a it doesn't sound like a real strategy, but the full idea is that if we just come out here and prevent every single damage that the opponent does, we just throw cards away and say, I don't care about card advantage, I don't care about making sure I get maximum effectiveness out of every unit. I'm just going to come out here and prevent literally every single point of damage that my opponent tries to deal to me. Then that leaves you in this spot to where, Anivia is going to outclass everything that the opponent does. They're not going to be able to outvalue us as the game goes on. We're generating Anivia as we're playing the Harrowing, and I think that's just the kind of space we should probably be in here. Is like, well, as long as we don't lose, as long as we don't get blown out by a Zed, as long as we don't take a bunch of incidental damage from these ephemerals, and the opponent's just kind of like, LOL, here's a bunch of Shark Chariots. We should just win as long as the game drags out. And so, at least in that sense, I feel a little bit better about that Vile Feast play on the previous turn, even though opponent didn't really come at us particularly aggressively. Let's do this. Let's just take the 1. We'll heal the damage back from Zed. Sure. And then we're good to start getting Anivias on the board. We're about to go aggro on old Coco Bandicoot 13. We have to turn it around. The Anivia is going to be showing the Zed how to attack. Sure. Making that big decision. Got the 1 mana left. What am I going to do? You're You're going to get hit with an Anivia AoE and a Withering Wail. I already got it for you. I already got it dialed in. The nastiness that's about to happen. That's it. Did he give up? Did he drop his phone in the toilet? No, okay. He did want the aristocrat. Everything coming down. Still feeling pretty good. I don't think we're worried about this whatsoever. In the Ruination. Hi. Here comes the bird. Let's just bring it all. The one that's kind of questionable here is this kindly Tavern Keeper. He could take the Tavern Keeper down with this 2 health Butcher. But I feel like this isn't the space where we just want to attack with Anivia, right? He's kind of... He knows he's going to lose some of these 1 health units, but it feels like we're missing out on a couple points of damage if we don't send in all of our smaller friends. What you got? Here comes something. All of the Glimpse from Beyonds today. Sure. So yeah, I mean, the only real scary thing coming out of this is the Phantom Prankster, but he's nowhere near hitting us for 16 damage with dead units. So between the Withering Wail and the Anivia, I'm pretty sure we're going to clear out his board, and then we'll win the game like 9 turns from now. There's no winning the game immediately with this deck. It's got to be 9 turns down the road. The fresh offering, sure. Riot can't figure out how to make this guy useful. You know, you boost the fresh offerings, you boost the Twisted Tree line, you make him give your other fearsomes a bonus, and still nobody plays it. He is quite the monster in Path of Champions, though. Getting a 3/3 fearsome for or a 6/6 fearsome for 3 mana, not the worst deal you can get there. I mean, if there wasn't going to be a rotation, you'd have to be getting to the point to where you could just physically print this card, right? Just a big collection of stats nobody cares about. Like, he has to be a potential to just get printed. All right, though. Opponent's attack here is completely blanked. If he has combat tricks or something, I just don't care. Protect the Zed all you want. He's not particularly relevant. Now we're nice and lined up for this Anivia attack next turn. What do we got? Avarosian Sentry? I feel like we probably ought to get some bros down. I mean, I always say I don't feel like these decks are going to be playing the Ruination. This feels like another one that shouldn't be. But I feel like every time we say it, they drop it on us. But nonetheless, I think we can still come in and drop some of these dudes. Like, I get that we can attack with Anivia, then he blocks with some of these smaller things. But I think we're getting these opportunities to just start pushing in a little bit of that chip damage. Right? Does he really want to block with the Vile Ball and just lose it? Like, how does he even win the game at that point? It says, I'm going to play my 4th Glimpse from Beyond. That's how the wins are generated. Gonna file feast our bird token. Is that what's about to happen? Something? Anything? Hecarim. It's almost tempting to just go ahead and play the Ruination, just to get the Hecarim off the board, but this open attack next turn isn't scary enough. Even if we get a harsh winds onto the units, and then just take the damage from the Hecarimlings, whatever from the Spectral Riders, even block the Spectral Riders with the Spiderlings. All's well and good there. I ain't scared. All right, you can have a deny. If he has a deny, it's still okay. We're not going to take any real damage at this point. Now we get a complete shutdown on the turn, and we've got the Harrowing for next turn. Good stuff. Good stuff, I tell you. Got a bird and everything. All right, let's get some eggs on the board. GG. Market a W for bust. All right, we got our one game with this deck out of the way. Let's never play it again. Oh man, just gotta Jinx Draven from here on out. Get our aggro fix. You play cards like Withering Wail and the Ruination, and it just kind of chips away at your soul a little bit. I know some of you enjoy that kind of thing, but for the most part, I want nothing to do with that. But same deal here. Let's take the Anivia deck out of the mix. See what he leaves up. He takes down our Ashe deck, which we were kind of hoping to play here, but it's taken away from us, and so it's going to be Anivia again. I just don't really want to be taking Jinx Draven up against Vile Feast decks, and so it's likely to exist across some of these. The Callista deck here doesn't love playing cards like Vile Feast, but they're almost assuredly considering it. All right, reasonable enough start though. Got a bit of early game interactivity, got some ramp if he's being slow. Happy enough with all this.
The journey ahead is long. Do not fear death.
I shouldn't be complaining though. Anytime we're out here playing the Catalyst to the Aeons, that that makes life just feel a little bit better. Just need a little bit of Targon's Peak in this thing, and everything would be all right. All right, what up, Lucian? Gonna hit us for 5. Nope. Well, he's bound to at least have one more unit coming down, right? You don't just play the Icevale Archer here and not have anything behind. But I think we're okay to just go ahead and get into combat. And as long as we kind of manage the board here a little bit, the Lucian shouldn't flip, and we have the... Oh, that's the Harrowing. I thought we had the Ruination in hand, but that was false. False statement right there. Fake news. Here, I'll take the extra point of damage to get the Dawn Speakers to 3. Oh, it's going to grow anyways, right? I was thinking maybe we could get ourselves in the space to where the Icevale Archer can take down the Dawn Speakers, but a little bit short on the stats once he grows his team. That's okay though.
Be strong. These are dark times. Warm hearts and hot soup.
All right. Well, the downside to taking this Tavern Keeper play is if he actually has Senna. I think we're okay in that sense. I don't think we're really worried about opponent playing Senna now that we've picked up the Vengeance, right? We have the way to take Lucian down, but that would be a concern. We did have the opportunity to just kind of like try and open take down the Lucian. Okay.
That egg. Did it move? The chains, they never
Say one damage is it? That's all you're bringing is the Warden's Prey? So you got it. You got it, my dude. Something cool? No. Well, things are still fine. We just need to draw good cards at this point and we'll be okay. We still have the Vengeance for Lucian. He's not been doing anything to get to boost the Dawn Speakers. I left the Lucian up last turn so that the Dawn Speakers didn't activate and then boost the rest of his units. I think all of this is completely fine. The downside here is if we go for the Vengeance onto Lucian and then he has a second Lucian, we're really going to be hurting at that point, but let's at least backtrack some of his flipping. Yeah. Okay.
Our allies did not fall in vain.
Gotta draw a good card. Come on, deck.
Death comes.
Where are they at? You say ask you for one thing, deck. Give me a card that is good. It's not turning up. Here it is. I'm feeling it. Nope, that was not it. I should have felt it a little better. Right, not bad. It's been a couple of turns he hasn't had anything to kill off his own units for the Dawn Speakers. There we go. There's the good stuff coming in with the Ruination. So let's just prevent whatever damage we can. Lucian. Dude. And say, let's see what we draw. I don't know if this is the point where we actually want to pull the trigger. We might actually just wait until next turn. So let's play the Catalyst, give him a chance to just throw another unit on the board, and then we can play the Harrowing, or we can play the Ruination. The downside to doing it this way is it gives him the chance to refill next turn. So right next turn we're going to come in and play the Ruination, and then he can put more stuff on the board. I guess our decision will ultimately come down to, oh, he's just overwriting stuff. That's beautiful. I was going to say our decision will ultimately come down to if we think we can survive his next attack, which it's not unreasonable to do, right? With the harsh winds, and we get to prevent 10 damage from 2 of his units. And so, you know, it certainly had some potential there. Might need to find ourselves just playing the Harrowing for value on the upcoming turn, given that we've lost 2 Avarosian Sentries, and just getting a little bit of card draw gives us a shot to grow a bit. Well, I'm going to be doing it here. It's not spectacular, but it gives us, you know, a shot, lets us come in, prevent a bunch of damage. I think 2 Avarosian Sentries will come back. We only got 1 back. I guess we've only played 1 at this point.
Ready the torches.
But picking up Glimpse Beyond certainly helps. Yeah, let's put it on the high health. I guess there is a world where he gets to like flip Lucian and then rally this turn. That takes quite a bit of work though. It's gonna suck worse if we try and Glimpse Beyond and then he has a Vile Feast. All right, there's Anivia. Feels a lot better now. Probably shouldn't have played the Aristocrat. Now that I stop and think on it a little bit more, it's like there is a realistic chance that he gets to like flip Lucian and rally this turn, and if we're having to like deal with the flipped Lucian, the harsh winds would have gone a long way if we had that 1 mana back.
Nothing escapes my watch.
That one is beyond us now, though.
For the homestead. Come from the dark.
Interesting. Blocking with the Rekindler? Is he just going to have his own Harrowing? Like, we can deal with that. It's not the end of the world.
I'll sleep when they're dead.
And the Lucian flip. Short. So this is the kind of thing why I thought we maybe wanted to hang on to the harsh winds, right? He's going to have a giant attack here, but I think we're safe.
I will endure.
Look out for reavers.
Look out for reavers, bro. Alright, so the Callista flips, immediately dies. We got a couple of fresh blockers for the next turn in case he wants to open attack with Lucian. Got the harsh winds in hand. I think we're pretty well set to take this one down now, but took a bit of work to get there. Oh, he's got a Callista out of nowhere.
We burn, then kindle anew. Burn away the shadows.
Give him a little bit of that cupcake. Call it a day.
I protect this place. I will endure.
Join the conflagration.
All right. Nice little attack ending at +3 health. He had the perfect draw in Callista to resummon all of the Shark Chariots, but we had the perfect draw in the Withering Wail as well. Now we just need 10 more turns or so, and we'll be able to end this one.
We each died, then found home.
10, 12, you never know. Never know how long it's going to take with this one. Sure. Man, we're actually going to hit for 17? Wow. Wow. Figured we'd need at least 10 to 12 more turns. Maybe 14, maybe 16. GG. We're okay? Alright. Sorry, I gotta check my phone. We're getting to the tail end of fantasy football season here. I gotta check my phone and make sure the old team updates are coming in. You get the injury reports an hour before the games start, so you gotta check it in and be ready. Got old Joe Mixon on one of the teams. He's been concussed. Worried about his outcome. Fantasy wise, I'd love him to play. He's a strong part of one of my teams. Real world wise, the Bengals are battling the Chiefs today, and so I would love to have a good game. You also must admit that the Bengals being down one of their premier players would help the Chiefs in their shot at chasing victory, and so it's tough. It's tough, the struggles that fantasy football brings to your life. It could be tough. All right, though. What do we got here? This looks like an opportunity for us to get our Jinx Draven deck into action, and so let's ban out the Callista, see what opponent leaves up, and we can make a decision from there. I'll try to not play the Anivia deck over and over again. It's not my favorite by any means of the world, and so all right, let's just take a shot. We'll play Jinx Draven. I can't imagine he plays the Teemo deck, but that's another one as to every time I say I can't imagine someone doesn't play Teemo, then they just bring it right back out. And so we'll see. Again, like I'm not the biggest fan of running these cards into the Shadow Isles decks because you just have so much early game stuff that gets blown up by Vile Feast, gets blown up by Withering Wail. It's tough to tell what he's even bringing here. I always assume that these are just spiders when you see Elise, Darius, Noxus, Shadow Isles, but it's not always the case. I mean, even in our previous video, we played Elise, Darius, the only Shadow Isles cards being Elise plus Elise plus a 2 copies of the Harrowing, and so maybe the Glitter Kitty caught our video and they said, "Oh, that's the stuff I want to bring." Bring it on. Bust giving me them good strategies. Speaking of the footballs, I can't wait to see what happens today. If you're not entirely familiar with it, this is Deshaun Watson's first return back to professional football. I think he is a shitty person. I'll go ahead and put it out there, straightforward. I think he's a garbage human being. If you're not familiar with the case of Deshaun Watson, he got a little frisky with the masseuse. He would do a lot of booking masseuses, and then try to get him to touch his dong and do sex stuff on him, which, you know, I try to give some of these people the benefit of the doubt, right? You know, there's always this kind of thing to where, you know, well, he's rich, or this person's trying to get famous, or trying to get a lawsuit, or maybe he's just like socially weird, and, you know, he didn't handle a situation well, right? He's sitting here, he's getting massaged, and he's like, "Oops, I got a boner," and she asked me to roll over. You know, like then things got weird. You know, like if it turns up one time, and that's the kind of the end of the story, and he otherwise seems like a decent dude, then sure, you know, maybe we should be giving you the benefit of the doubt. But with this guy, he had like 25 upwards to 30 lawsuits brought against him, to where he was just being a creep ass to all these girls, and then they still let him play football. And so I'm really pumped. I'm really stoked for the opportunity for him to just come out and completely fail. I'd love to see the Cleveland Browns fail in the most spectacular ways possible, given that they felt it was worthwhile to give him $250 million over the next 5 years, all completely guaranteed. And so I'm hoping, I'm dreaming that you know, if the scumbag's going to get to play, then he just fails in the most spectacular fashion. But all right, what do we got? I'm trying to like limit our exposure here a little bit, right? I want to get our Jinx on board. I want to get her flipped, and then that's going to be our way to deal with these 1 health spiderlings. But we got to do a little bit of navigating here. If opponent like just passes it back to us, I'm fine to just send it back. We did get rid of the 1 copy of Jinx, and so if he's going to Black Spear, that's going to be a problem. And so doesn't look to be a possibility for him. Still want to play it slow, though. Well, that's one way to combat Jinx Draven, to put Absorb Soul into every deck. I feel you. Not the approach I would take, but you know, I understand the sentiment. And so we picked up an expensive. We don't have a way to get the Death Rocket off this turn. We needed to pick up a 1-drop unit. We should have expected it to be kind of tough to do, but that's where we're at right now. That would be a bit of the upside if you want to come out and play cards like Jury Rig, right? If we'd drawn Jury Rig here, we would have been able to get it down for free, but it doesn't strike me as a space to where we're really struggling. I mean, he can't Black Spear anymore, and that's always the big thing with Jinx, so. I think we're good. Going to get him with the Surprise Vision, take down all the fearsomes. Don't really care what he plays at this point. I think we're in the bag. little bit of that preemptive hit. All right, well, we can play like Vision physically, right? We don't have to discard it to get excited. And I'm kind of on board with this, given that Draven, or given that Darius is one of the major cards we're going to have to worry about. If we start falling down to like 11, that's got to give us some serious concern, right? I think I'm pretty right in this. We can't just do this and get the bonuses onto our units beforehand. So go ahead and take the block. It does let us Death Rocket the Skitterer down next turn if we pick up a card we can play, which should be much easier to do now, right? We're going to draw 2 cards on the turn, but we just need oh shit, our Jinx isn't even flipped. Oops. I had in my head that she was going to be flipped and we were drawing 2, but assume that she was and we were drawing 2 there, it wouldn't be that tough for us to either draw a 1 or a 2 drop and still be able to Death Rocket this turn. What you got? More transfusions? Decisive maneuvers. That's fine. We're still going to be lethal this turn, right? 9, 11 plus 4. I could tell all you European folk out here. You're all like, "Oh, Bust, you're talking about football. That's the wrong one. How did America do in the real football against the old Team Netherlands?" They did not win. They did not win. Team America did not win the top 16 battle. I guess it's over. I don't know. I don't really follow it enough to know. I'll catch the World Cup on at the gym in the morning. I guess time zones or whatever make it air whenever I'm there and watching and stuff. But I didn't catch the game. I assume it's a single elimination at this point. I don't know. Maybe they want to drag it out as long as they can, just to get as much airtime on it. But pretty sure they're done. Not gonna look it up. So I'll just be surprised the next time I'm at the gym. Get some of the hot commentary on the current situation. All right, though. Opponent dropped their phone in the toilet. They did the mathematics. They realized they're dead. They don't have any crawling sensations left in their hand. The Jinx cards are going to come in. It says F. I specifically tailored my deck. I put the Absorb Souls in here to beat Jinx Draven, and then I still lost. Womp womp. All right. Here we go. Fishing that phone right out of the toilet. Got a bunch of poop water on the phone. Can't feel good. All right, GG.
We blew them all up.
All right, 3 wins under the belt. On to the next one. Maybe we'll get to play Ashe one of these games. Who knows? Can't wait. Can't wait to play some Katarina in the upcoming format. Oh, that does remind me, if you follow along daily, this might be the last video we do until the World Ender comes out. I don't have anything planned for the next couple of days. I usually take that day right before the set comes out and do kind of a set review, but since they released everything right from the start, we already did that a while ago. And so we'll see. I might play some meme decks or something, but not planning on making videos over the next couple days. Then we'll jump right back in when the World Ender comes out. But nonetheless, reasonable looking stuff here. I'm not entirely certain what this Braum Trendemir deck would be. The probably like realist deck of the 3 is going to be this Elise Katarina. I assume that that's going to be some kind of Spider's number, but we get the opportunity to bring our Ashe Katarina in now. Let's bring it forth. See if we can't bring some serious booms on the opponent here. I love getting to bring Rhymefang Wolves against Braum decks. So maybe that's what we'll have lined up and in store for this next game. He's bringing to Braum. I dig it. Braum Tryndamere with Ionia. All right. So, reasonable enough start. We can go ahead and get rid of Katarina. We could actually get rid of like one more card here if we want to try and find some interactivity. And I don't think... Well, granted, I don't know entirely what the opponent plans to be doing here, but I don't think the House Spider is going to be an ultra necessity. It doesn't strike me as a set of cards to where he's going to be bringing a bunch of width at us. But now, more than happy to trade Omen Hawks. I don't suspect opponent is going to no play here, right? We're going to play the Glory Seeker. He's going to have an Averosian Sentry or something, but there is the serious opportunity for the hard punish and him trading away the Omen Hawks. And ooh, fam. Thanks for that free 5-piece nugget there. Yeah, I'm not gonna allow that. Get this ramp right out of here. Okay, we are curving hard and strong now. And so Braum would be a bit of a problem here. We don't have a great board in the face of Braum, but literally anything else, we're primed and ready with the Icefell Archer, so we might get something there. And then I was going to say, we'll see if he comes in with an Avalanche. If he wants to play Avalanche, then, you know, we at least won't lose the Icefell Archer. But if he plays a dude, we have another prime opportunity to get good usage out of our Glory Seeker. All right. Jamming in there hard and strong. Hard and strong. It's the only way I jam. So let's see. Like, I mean, the deck like his this point, it's probably wanting to play big curve cards, right? I was going to say, if he wants to come in at us with like an Averosian Hearth card, we play into that so well. And so I was curious if that was what was going to come forth. It wasn't. And I think we're just so far ahead now we can play a big value game. We have a Brittle Steel in case he plays something small, but all of our units getting +2/+2, given that he's so far behind in tempo, should be enough to carry us the rest of the way.
It was right on my tail. For the homestead.
I'll cut them apart.
Okay, very good place to try and take this Weirding Stones down. If he's stuck on 7 mana again next turn, he can't play his Tryndamere or any of his big cards like that. Granted, we're not really scared about Tryndamere on this next turn, but I really like getting the ramp unit off of the board. Okay. Looks good to me. And Ashe turns up. Cool. So we're just going to want to present as many units as can kill next turn through like a Harsh Winds. Harsh Winds is a very realistic card that we're going to have to run into next turn. And so with the additional heal, we may not be able to get there, but we should be able to stop him from blocking with anything. And then he's going to need like 2 Harsh Winds to try and get out of this. Third blocker was pretty good, but... Oh no, this guy can't block, right? Ashe is going to have him at... Oh, we haven't... Okay, we have Frostbitten something. So, Brittle Steel. Brittle Steel. Attack. This team can't block. So, you can definitely get out of this, right? There's lots of ways to stop this attack from getting the win, but it takes quite a bit. Right, you need like double Harsh Winds or a Harsh Winds and a heal or something, and GG. That Omen Hawk putting in the work.
Now we rebuild.
Says I gotta rethink this in the future. Maybe I won't try to trade my Omen Hawks on the first turn. See, I'm not playing Sejuani today. Sejuani wants to see that attack. Nobody else does. All right, and so in with this stuff. I mean, I guess we're at this point to where we're just starting to leave Jinx Draven up. I think we can ban out the opposing Ashe Katarina deck. Never planning on banning out the Teemo deck here in the middle. So this is kind of interesting in this space. I mean, I think we could play a mirror match. The Teemo deck shouldn't line up well against Jinx Draven. So I think this will probably just push us towards a mirror, which, granted, I'm not really well tuned for, but I'm also curious if opponent won't bring Jinx Draven, because I think Anivia should probably realistically be the deck that we're bringing here right now. But I'm actually kind of surprised that that was the one that he chose to leave up. Like Anivia's not. Anivia is strong against all of that. It's weird. Okay. How hard do we want to mulligan for the ones here? Like, I don't know. I see the Teemo and I have very little respect. I know that we should be coming in for the one drops pretty hard, so I'm just going to get rid of everything. That was one of the spots I was kind of lacking in the deck building area. I was wanting to really jam in like 11 or so one drops in this thing, and we're just kind of. I'm ultimately just so worried about the Vile Feast that I didn't bring myself to do it. Teemo, you'll get your time in the sun in the next Timewinder. Once we get to play Teemo Sejuani, then maybe you'll get the day in the sun. I just don't think you're very good in this current one. If the Ionia Allegiance unit hadn't been nerfed, then maybe Teemo would have a spot, but I don't think he's there. Okay. I wonder if this deck's playing Elixir of Iron. Like, I haven't seen an Elixir of Iron since we started playing these, but it was a card that people played a lot of back in the initial Foundations era, so wouldn't be complete nonsense to think that it could be a thing. Now we have to question, is Avalanche going to be a thing? And so we'll drop in the Precious Pet, see if they spend any mana. Okay, he can't Avalanche now. We're just really primed for this huge attack between having the Spinning Axe, the Vision, and the Battlecaster on board to give the giant boost to the team. Boost is less giant now. Interesting. I mean, I guess you could have Brittle Steel. Brittle Steel would have been the card that he would have had on the previous turn. Yeah. That didn't quite come in. Didn't come in to save the Teemo. Okay, but we're about to be that time of the day where we drop Jinxes on the board, and so we can get a Jinx flip here. Let's just pass and see what happens. Like, I think if we go into the next turn, it's still probably okay. I just don't really want him Mystic Shotting our Jinx. If he Mystic Shots the Precious Pet, that's okay.
Rules are made to be broken, like buildings or people. Anything else? We are doing it.
Okay. So, not a great chance that Jinx gets to survive next turn. She's probably just going to get hit with the Thermogenic Beam. But we'll see what happens. Then a slightly awkward pickup in the Augmented Experimenter. We won't get to use our Jinx this turn, but we can try and take down the Ezreal. Maybe we do get a good turn. What you got? You gotta have something. Harsh Winds? Okay. we've got him pretty well ground down. I mean, yeah, we lost our Jinx, but we have another one in hand. Seems like that's all okay. We are just not casting death rockets today, though. These hands are not playing nicely in those terms. We can discard a crowd favorite or something, but I was expecting to get a little bit easier time getting these things down.
Blessed by snow and stars. You suck. The people are my
Okay, we could look to just say add Jinx and then discard stuff to Spinning Axe, but I think we're in a decent place here to just be adding value to the board. Now we have a decent Death Rocket, though, with the House Spider. So we can add House Spider, add Jinx, discard crowd favorite, then do some nastiness post-combat. What the hell is this thing so big for? 7/7 Peddler? Phew, okay.
I've work to do. Excuse you. Fly away while you can.
All right, get in for that big point of damage. It's not that bad, though, right? We have the non-Jinx blocker next turn for the Peddler. He doesn't have Overwhelm, so we're not worried about him dealing damage. And then getting to draw 2 cards every turn along with the Death Rockets should get us in a pretty decent space to closing out this game. Until he drops the thermogenic beam on her. That's the way of the world sometimes, but the majority of the time, I think we're in a pretty good spot here.
Have a mushroom. Have 3.
The sun rock got me good.
Look out!
I'm innocent.
All right, getting close.
Who's ready to wreck it?
Someone get a mop. GG. What do we got? Flame Chomper, get excited. Uh-oh. Taking a little bit of that taking a little bit of that puff cap damage here right at the end. Got him. GG. Okay, the pre-final battle coming up. I missed it, man. I missed the days of playing all those expeditions, having that pre-final battle. Coming into round 6, get yourself amped up and ready for what can come. I miss it. So with this, we're going to ban out the Anivia deck. He's got this triple Shadow Isles lineup. I don't think this was the guy we played earlier, but it just takes away Jinx Draven, so we don't even have to deal with that. That's fine. Let's come in with the Ashe Katarina. This is another space to where the Anivia deck is probably just the way to go. I think it's arguably the best deck in the format, but it's fucking boring. You can put that on the note. Oh shit. I guess that's okay. I meant to do some mulliganing here and click the wrong thing. I guess you can put that note on the deck list on the Riot site. Best deck in the format. Boring as fuck. All right. Reasonable enough things happening here, though. Opponent hasn't come at us with any aggression. Can't expect a whole lot out of them if he's not adding anything until the second turn here. So if we're just going to play the slow game and build up our board a little bit, I'm okay with that. Interesting with the Glory Seeker, she's usually not a prime unit against the Shadow Isles decks, but if she's gonna come down with a +1 health and protect her from Vile Feasts, then she can put in some work. Interesting. He islandered his. He put the Islander on his Shark Chariot. I didn't watch his mana. He may have been able to just pass there or something, but strange.
Don't get in my way. The War Mother will unite us all.
Hi, Lucian. I don't know about you, bro, but I'm ready to party now. So if we just kill off one unit, Lucian won't flip here. I mean, we should probably just take the 4 from these units on the left, and then if we're going to block stuff, just block the stuff that's already going to die. I think that's okay. My ultimate concern here is we kill off one of these smaller units, and then he has a Glimpse from Beyond, and the Glimpse from Beyond flips the Lucian, and so not something I really want to see. Now that he's got the 2 ticks on him, try and take the Lucian down now. Try and get away from some shenanigans in case he has a second to back up Lucian. Now I think we're okay in this space. Definitely going to have a full board. So how do we feel about that? It's like we're going to have to deal with it this turn. I think we can just give up a unit, right? The Glory Seeker is not really doing too much this game.
Today we fight as one.
And I'm wanting to hang on to the Flash Freeze for the following turn, just in case he plays a scary unit. We did take a reasonably big chunk of damage on the previous turn, so if we can stop a little bit of it, I think that's okay.
Push back the darkness.
Okay. Well, I guess that Lucian's gonna flip today. We have to add the Yeti. I want to have a second blocker. His biggest units are going to be the Shark Chariots, and I want to be able to block both of those. I think once we get out of this turn, we'll be okay.
Stand and defend.
So here comes the Lucian flip, right? But we have a Flash Freeze. His attacks are pretty garbagey after this. He really needs another Ephemeral to make these attacks scary, and if he doesn't have another Ephemeral, I think he probably made a humongous mistake here in attacking with all of his Haunted Relic tokens, right? I'm not entirely certain how that panned out in terms of getting the Lucian to flip, but this would be a lot better right now if he had an Ephemeral token to bring back a to bring back a Shark Chariot.
Look out for Reavers.
And then I don't think this deck ever plays Riposte, right? Riposte would be the scary card here. Okay. I was considering if we wanted to say block with the Avarosian Sentry, so if he has a combat trick, we still get, the card draw off of the Sentry, but I didn't go for it.
Under one banner.
I wasn't considering the removal spell coming back out at us.
Safeguard our homes. You have to get me out of here. Please, I have connections.
All right. One short of the lethal, but we got the Lucian off of the board. I think we're okay, fam. All right, big bunch of ephemerals coming at us. So where are we at? Whoops. Get a block like this. On a Calling Strike to prevent some damage. I don't think we have to worry about anything else next turn. Like, he's out of cards at this point. We're going to be open attacking. There's not a ton that he can do. He still dies with, like, a Vile Feast. Do we beat a Withering Whale? Yeah, we do. Okay. Or maybe no, we don't. Maybe we should have played around that a little better, but shouldn't be too much that stops us. All right. That pre-final battle's over, though. Getting into the real thing, the real deal, the final one. Whew. The shot at glory. See if we can get it. Fuel up a little bit on this Red Bull. Get myself ready. Yeah, hasn't been a bad set of battles. I've been enjoying this format. I think we have 2 more weeks of this format before it switches into the Rising Tides. I don't entirely remember how that sequencing went. But looking at this stuff, I've been reasonably happy coming in and just banning out the Shadow Isles Frey Lord number. I think we'll do so again here. It does kind of limit us if we want to bring our Jinx Draven deck, but I don't think Jinx Draven is that afraid of the Elise deck. It still has the Vile Feast, which caused some problems, but I suspect at the end of the day, we're either going to play Anivia or we're going to play Ashe. Okay. Ashe it is. That has been one of the kind of interesting aspects of these best of ones within the 3-deck pick and ban, is you really can just bring like 2 decks and only plan to play those 2. Just kind of say, well, I don't care what you're going to do, opponent. I'm going to bring one of my 2 decks if that's what it comes down to, but I don't think that's the best strategy, but it's certainly a thing that's there. All right, let's look for some earlier stuff. Omen Hawk making a nice early appearance. Oh shit! Oops. I honestly was like thinking in my head there. It was like, I bet I do it. I bet I mess this up. And like as I was thinking about it, I clicked the button and missed the attack. We'll get through it. We'll see what we can do. Very odd seeing Keeper of Masks come out of this deck. Not what I was expecting. I'm wanting to save the removal for better cards, right? This Keeper of Masks isn't really a prime target. We want to be hitting things like Lux and Karma and Yasuo. If we can save this Shatter for Yasuo or something, or save the Calling Strike to hit a Flash Frozen Garen, like those are the real high valued targets. We don't need to be messing around with this Keeper of Masks. It's just a blocker at this point. Okay. Here he comes. It's going to be the Yasuo, isn't it? Talks so much trash about Yasuo. He doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve a nice speaking to, a hype chat, if you will. He just don't deserve it, Yasuo. I'm sorry. All right. Well, my unit's better than all your units. That's pretty easy to see. What do we got? A Glory Seeker? We are just primed for such a huge attack now with the Harsh Winds. Like, we'd love to see him just drop Garen, right? If he drops Garen and we just get to smoke this board, this game's going to be done so fast. But this all looks very good. Lux has Barrier. That's most certainly manageable here. And so we're going to Harsh Winds. Let's take down the 2 best ones. Okay, and then if he wants to take the value block on one of our 1/1s at this point, that's okay. Otherwise, he has to trade for the sentry and take the extra damage. Oof. Look at that board, though. See ya, Lux. Your barriers are no good here. Let's get another one. Let's get another one in here. Just straight Bowman. Are we gonna shatter this Blade Keeper so we just get to open attack next turn? How much is this? 5, 8, 9, be 15 in total? He's playing Will of Ionias now. I guess the downside to... Okay, just gives up on it. I was going to say, the downside to coming in for the big open attack is if he had a concussive palm. I know concussive palm in the format, but if he had an interactive way to deal with our 5/1, then we would have been 1 damage short of the lethal. But nonetheless, good enough for glory, good enough to take down the victory. The final battle is ours, and we can talk about this deck list stuff a little bit more. And again, like the Jinx Draven deck, I concede that it's good, but it's pretty tough to find these spots to where you aren't playing against Vile Feast. And if you're playing a deck that has Precious Pet, Zonite Urchin, House Spider for half of a card, and you're looking at a lot of the decks playing Jury Rig, it's just so much of that gets blown up by Vile Feast. And Vile Feast is so prevalent in this format that I really don't like running it. It's like, if you want to beat this deck, you can. And it's not nearly as powerful as it is in the current state of Constructed right now. And so I'm not the biggest fan of this deck. That's really painful for me to say as a lover of the Legion Rearguard, but I just don't like it in this current format. I feel like that there's just way too much Shadow Isles running around. And so you can, bring it if you want. It feels like there should be some kind of lineup involving Jinx Draven and Zed and some kind of elusives deck or something, but I just think that the Vile Feast problem is way too high in this format. And then it's even decks like Elise Spiders, right? The aggro decks of the format still getting to play Vile Feast caused so many problems here. And so we were able to get victory with this. We won with it every time that we played it, but you could see where we were trying to fit the spots in with this, where we're trying to find a spot to where we ban out our opponent's only Shadow Isles deck. And then this one feels much better. Now, if you've been watching our previous videos, the way that we've been trying to kind of combat that situation is playing 2 Harrowing decks and then Ashe. And so if our opponent only brings 1 Shadow Isles deck and we ban it, then we're just straight ready to bring in Ashe. But if they have the multiple Shadow Isles decks, then we're fine to play our other Harrowing deck. And so the Jinx Draven deck, I don't feel like... You could fit it into that kind of theme, right? Say you want to play... Anivia, Jinx Draven, and then another just Harrowing deck, whatever other Harrowing deck you want to go for, then this would kind of fit that replacement role for Ashe. But I think Ashe Katarina is just so much better than this deck that I haven't really been impressed with it and didn't really want to play it at any point today. But moving on to Ashe Katarina, do love this. I still think that strategy of the double Harrowing plus this deck is incredibly strong. I've been kind of thinking of a way if we want to replace Katarina, so we could play Katarina in our Nox and Harrowing deck, and I haven't quite found it, but this is what I think that kind of off deck should be. There's just so many decks that get smoked by this, whether or not that is, if you're running into, say, a lot of like Fiora decks or a lot of Elites decks, like all of these decks that are just putting, stats on the board, it just takes advantage of those so well. And so I think that there's, this is definitely fits well in our lineup, and it should probably fit well in the things that you do. The only thing I'm kind of curious with this one is there is a little bit of space to look to add in the, what are you, the Trifarian Assessor, the one that draws cards. I felt like it's been a little bit short in here, and then I feel like you kind of want to play the Avrosian Trapper to make the Yetis, and then I haven't wanted to play that card whatsoever in this format. But that's the only card that's kind of missing out of here that I feel like maybe has a place. But I've been overall exceptionally happy with Ashe Katarina. Last but not least, there's the Anivia deck. I haven't been playing it because I think it's fucking boring. You know, it's not to say that it isn't a good deck. I think this is arguably the best deck in the format, but I just hate it. I hate everything about its play patterns and just sitting around and hoping you draw your good cards at the right time. It's not a deck that I think is particularly fun to play. I think this is the deck that kind of brings forth that idea that you hear from a lot of people, a lot of the big brain folks that think that control decks are the be all end all of challenging decks to play in the format because you have to sit around and make 1,000 decisions every game. But in our games, I feel like the decisions weren't that relevant, right? I don't feel like I played any of those games particularly well, but the deck itself just kind of really makes up for it in terms of, should I have played Vile Feast on a turn? I should have played Black Spear. Should I have played Withering Wail on a turn? I should have played Harsh Winds. Like the deck is just like so forgiving, right? There's not a huge difference in playing an Avalanche and a Withering Wail and doing them in the wrong order, that the deck doesn't just make up for it, right? You can be running up against Jinx Draven and you go, oh, 2-for-1, 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 2-for-1. It doesn't matter that I played the wrong spells in the wrong order because the deck was so forgiving. And what that kind of like conversation leads to is, if you're looking to play aggro decks, making that decision early does tend to be exceptionally important. If you play the wrong unit on the second turn of the game, then you'll probably just lose the game. If you play the wrong removal spell at the wrong time, you probably just lose the game. And that's a concept that I call decision weight, as to where if you have to put 100 points of energy into every single game, with the aggro decks, you're putting, say maybe 10 decisions of 10 points, as to where when you're playing these decks like Anivia, you're making 20 decisions of 5 points each. And so if you mess up one decision in each of those games, then the Jinx Draven deck, you only played 90% efficiently, as to where the Anivia deck, you played 95% efficiently. And so I don't think that a lot of that is typically taken into consideration, because you see a lot of games with Jinx Draven to where you just say, oh, I spent my first 6 mana on units and smoked the opponent because they only played 1 card in the first 3 turns. And it doesn't make up for all those other games, as to where you had that one super critical decision that really kind of made up for what happened and what didn't. And so with this Anivia deck, I think this is kind of the classic example of my decisions don't really matter as much, but I'm making a lot of decisions, so I feel smart. Nonetheless, it's reasonable. If you're wanting to just play the best decks in the format, you should probably be playing this. I do concede that in our double Harrowing lineup, this should probably replace the Tryndamere deck, but I think this deck's so boring to play that I don't want to do it. So take that how you will, do it how you want. But nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.